Hello, and welcome to another edition of Dr. Says, where I talk all about what's going on in the news these days, sometimes having to do with politics, sometimes having to do with psychology, and sometimes I combine the two. So, what is going on these days? Well, right now, APA is having their yearly convention in Denver, Colorado. I really wanted to go so bad because it's only a long day's drive from here in Dallas. But then the temperatures became so high once again, somewhere between 100 and 109, and I just didn't want to risk it driving all the way out there. So I'm attending because they have the Zoom ability. And so it's working pretty good this year. It didn't work very well last year. So I hope that my situation here is working well. This is a beautiful microphone, but it refuses to work. And so I don't think this is the microphone that I'm on right now. So I will try to speak more loudly and hope that you have a room in where you are at where you can just simply turn it up. So I'm glad you joined me today. I've got something very important to talk about today. The news today was about Gaza, for one thing. Those kids are starving. It's sickening to see that. And I'm surprised that so many good, kind, caring Jewish people here in America and over there are not standing up and saying enough already. A few are, but they're mostly concerned about getting the hostages out of there. What a fiasco. From a great distance, and that always makes us more objective, they seem like children fighting on a playground. I'm sorry. I know y'all are great leaders and you're very intelligent, but this idea of October the 7th, rushing across with the masks and the guns and shooting and killing and taking hostages was just unthinkable. Who thought of it? Well, two people did. Were the Sinwar brothers, yay. And they were so proud of their success. Of course, today they're both dead. And so how'd that work out for you? Muhammad and the other brother. And so that wasn't really a good idea. And then you wanted your people to be free and wanted them to thrive. And then now look what's happening. You didn't think it through. Okay? We've got to encourage world leaders to think through their behavior when they want to start shooting, killing, and bombing people. So it's interesting that I'm a member of Division 48 of APA. It's peace, conflict, and aggression. Well, of course, we want peace in the world. Of course, we want to bring down the level of conflict in the world. Of course, we want to stop the aggressiveness in the world. And in particularly, right here in the United States, what is it with all these acts of gun violence? I don't even want to talk about the two I read about today. Horrible killing of their family members. What were you thinking? And then the young man who went up to the tower, office tower, Park Avenue in New York, shooting and killing 4 lovely, innocent people. And he said, well, I had brain damage from football, and he wanted to go after the NFL. No, that's not what was going on. Still looking to see and find out his motivation. We hear that over and over again. We know the motivation, people. He was not happy, and it had nothing to do with the NFL. There was video footage of him being stopped by the police and him resisting and them trying to deal with what he was doing. Where does this behavior come from? It goes back to childhood. It makes a person aggressive when they have unresolved childhood trauma. So I'm going to use the acronym UCT. And there's many words that are involved in there, and I'm just going to focus on unresolved childhood trauma. I've got a poster here. It's right behind me over here, and I made this when I thought about shooters. But you know, It can be applied to the mass shooters like Putin and the Hamas. And now we have to apply it to Netanyahu. He's now a mass shooter. Tens of thousands of men, women, and children being killed either by being blown up or just starving to death. How can you justify that in your mind? I do not know. If you're kind of confused and you don't know how to go forward, give me a call, 214-394-4040, and I'll help you think it through so that you will become a person who wants to do good in this world, who dedicates him or herself towards helping everybody around them feel good, be well, have a sense of well-being. That's what we should all raise our right hand and say, I promise I will become a person who wants everybody around me to have a sense of well-being. Why can't we do this? Back to my poster that I came up with. Let me tell you what it is. I call it the AR Arira. Just worked out that way. A gun is oftentimes an AR-15. Well, on my poster, the AR stands for angry and resentful. Now, where does that come from? It comes from their childhood. Mom and Dad did not treat them well. The young man with the AR-15 that went up to New York, we have not interviewed the parents? Why are we not interviewing the parents? They have the key as to why he did this. And I could talk about shooter after knife wielder, even Bryan Kohberger. What a monstrous act that he went over there and slaughtered 4 innocent, beautiful college students. And he just sits there in court. Everybody's curious. What was his motivation? We have yet to learn his motivation. That's not really the right word. The right word is drive. Where did his drive come from? Famous psychologist, smarter than me, said, frustration leads to aggression. That's the simplest way you can do it, but it's still true. So let me go over my poster here. ARIRA stands for 5 things that their brain goes through. 5 things. The first thing is arrogance. I'm going to do what I feel like doing. It has nothing to do with kindness and caring about other people in the world. And the other word that goes right along with that is E, which is egocentrism. A-E. They just go together. But I will use the letter A for aggressive. And then the other letters, the person feels righteous indignation. I've been done wrong. Yes, you have. When I was 5, 10, and 15, right? And then back up to thought, and I'm angry about that. And they carry that anger and resentment up in their brain. I'm discussing this concept right now with Dr. Peter Langman, the incredible author of those incredible books about school shooters. I hope we can continue the conversation and discover the brain development, the unresolved childhood trauma that's at the root of this aggressive behavior. So I've got AR, which is righteous indignation, and the next word, next I is indignation. Now the words that go with that are, how dare you treat me this way? Well, who? Well, number one, mom and dad. How dare you communicate with me in such a totally ineffective and hurtful way? Parents do it all the time. The heading came up on my phone the other day. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. Who said that? A mother of children, and one was a young boy, I don't know, 3 or 4, and she slammed his head against the wall, gave him like bruises or a black eye. And when the police were called, she said, well, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. Give us patience. How can you have children and be raising children and not know a thing about healthy parenting? Get a clue. Get a book. Watch a video. There's plenty on TV, on YouTube. Please bring yourself up to speed. Do a good job, and if you do, your child won't grow up to be a mass murderer. Isn't that a good goal to have? Okay. So the next thing that happens to a child that grows up after so much abuse and neglect, the letters are right here on the end of the poster. It's trounsel. They grow up with so much. This is a longer list than just ACEs. It's a good research and adverse childhood experiences. We all should know about those. But what are they? Well, according to my list, the T stands for trauma. The R stands for rejection, and that's a mild form of abandonment. The A stands for abuse, and there's 5 kinds. The next one, the TRAU, the U stands for unhealthy, unkind communication. Communication is so important, and we're seeing tidbits online about how to do it, how not to do it, and most of it looks very good. The N stands for neglect. We're so used to abuse and neglect, so I had to include that. The C is more unusual, but it's so powerful in a child's life, and it's chaos. Too many changes, too many moments and even years of uncertainty. What's going on here, Mom and Dad? There's too much arguing and conflict, and it seems so chaotic. That's terrible for a growing child, okay? The I stands for indulgence, okay? And we don't want to spoil a child, and so many of the school shooters were, in one way or another, spoiled. And the L stands for loss. So many children grow up. They might even have very healthy families, but then that wonderful parent passes away or moves away. That's a huge loss. And how this little 5-year-old is going to live, I do not know. Her father, or I should say her mother, told her father, we're moving out. I'm taking the little girl. And the wife and her mother and her sister, that were such wonderful, warm, loving family members for this 5-year-old. Well, the husband went through this list, experienced this as a child, and then went through this list in his mind, ARIRA, A-R-I-R-A, and decided to get a gun and shoot him. And then he shot himself. And so the 5-year-old doesn't even have her psychopathic father to talk to over the years and say, Dad, why? What happened to you as a child? What happened that made you go and go berserk and take the 3 people, and I guess you could say 4, including him, parents and people that loved me and supported me in my life so that I could grow up happy and healthy? Why did you? He would say, if he were alive, I had enough. I'm going to show you. You can't move out on me. I mean, it's just so immature. We've got to teach young people in a class in every high school in America all about mental health, all about IMACE. What is that? I don't have it up there. Integrity, maturity, adult ego state, character, and emotional intelligence, IMACE. We've got to have that in a class, and about 200 other concepts that I have ready to go once the state of Texas or anyone says, bring us the curriculum. We've got to stop these shootings. We've got to help these kids be more functional. We've got to stop the suicides and the suicide attempts, the depression and anxiety and low self-esteem, existential angst that they go through. We can stop it, but we have to join together and get this class in every high school. So I was listening to speakers today at APA, and they were good. They had good ideas. They're good people, but not one of them that I have seen that says a class in every high school. And the most surprising guest who did a great job was Bill Doherty, Dr. William Doherty. He was a big name in family therapy when I was getting my Ph.D. in family therapy back in the 90s. And there he was up in the chair at APA saying great stuff about it, how he's helping these 2 factions, political factions, in America and at universities learn how to think differently and to have healing, helpful conversations towards mental health and healthy relationships and a healthy student body. Thank you, Bill Doherty. I can't wait until I look up the organization. Something Angels. I didn't quite get it down today. Can't wait to and becoming a part of it. Please give me a call. 214-394-4040. I'm here for you. I want to support you. Any organization that's trying to help the kids find themselves, find their best selves, and develop emotional well-being. Because if we don't, they're going to be unhappy. They're going to pull out a knife like the young man named Karmelo up here in Plano a few weeks ago. Now he's going to court, have his trial in 2026. Karmelo Anthony, he was angry at this other young man at the track meet, so he put his knife in his sack. And when the other guy got a little bit like a bully, he shouldn't have done that. Hey, you guys need to get out of here. You're with the other team. You need to get out of our tent over here. He didn't need to say that. But it wasn't something that he needed to die for. So Karmelo pulls out his knife. Come touch me and you'll find out what happens to you. And he shoved the knife into the young man's heart. Of course, his twin brother is heartbroken. His parents, his family. So unnecessary. So aggressive. So needless. Where were his mom and dad? I kind of picked up by the news talk they gave that his parents are divorced. So that always breaks a young person's heart when dad lives over there, probably with a different woman, and here's mom over here, maybe with a different man. That's hard on a child. Sometimes you just can't help it. But if you're in that position where you're sliding towards divorce and you've got children, go see a therapist. Individual, great. Couples, super. But family therapy works best. Family therapy. I do it in my office all the time. If you're struggling with your family, your spouse, your children, call me. Call me. By Zoom, I can do it. And I will help. I saw a family today by Zoom for the first time. You can't cover very much in less than an hour, but I still made great first steps. And I'm going to help them get along better. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to go. It's time to go home to my family, and I wish you the best, and I hope and pray that no one gets a gun or a knife and kills anybody in your family, anybody in your state, or anybody in the United States. We've got to start praying for that, and then following up that with a class in every junior high, high school. Miss Texas, the new Miss Texas, Sadie, so smart. She said, we need mental health education in high schools. Good for her. Sadie, give me a call. Tell me that you'll support my initiative for a class in every high school in Texas. I would appreciate it so much. We're getting there slowly, but we're getting there. And so I hope that you'll support any organization in your hometown or in your state that has to do with bringing in teenagers, bringing in adolescents, and helping them learn healthy concepts. I wish I could show you. This is my book, and it's almost twice as long now. And if you want a copy, let me know. I'll get you a copy for a small fee. But I'm working on a new version of it to give you all my techniques right here. And here's my 9 ego states here. This is so important in understanding relationships and healthy communication. Watch all my YouTube videos. They always say, give me a thumbs up. I never see where to do that. So if you can see a thumbs up, give me a thumbs up. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a great weekend. This is Dr. Ced coming at you from Dallas, Texas. Dr. Cedric Wood. Have a great weekend.